Hello, everyone. Yeah, do you say hello down there, hey, Bird?
Hello.
Hello.
KK's just digging, which is something that's funny. He doesn't like being hit in the face by flying pieces of wood. So Cecil gets all freaked out when he kicks and the wood hits him in the face. Don't you? Don't you, Cecil? What's that look for? Hmm? What's that look for? Hmm? Change that camera. Ah. Hmm. Just the back camera. There we go. She's giving me a look here. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Hmm? Trying to say something. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Calvin. Hi, Jocelyn. Okay, Bird.
Actually, all three Moluccans have made it into the room, which is fine. I love
Yep.
to have them all. Yeah, I saw Amanda hiding back there.
He's pretty comfortable. As long as he doesn't get right up in AK's face, he's okay. Wake up, Cecil. Lucy's decided it's time to play, so.
Oh, that's something new. That's cute, you, Lucy.
Well, she's starting to feel like she can use her beak again.
Mm-hmm.
She is funny, though. I got to take her out of her cage, and I always have to do something to get her attention away. Sometimes I just wiggle my fingers on my right hand and pick her up with my left. Other times I pick up a toy and put it in front of her face.
Mm-hmm.
Once she's in here, though, she likes being in here. She doesn't like to move from place to place. She's pretty much the same way
I
leaving.
know these kind of people. So there's a question from Jocelyn. She asked, any smoke from fire by you away?
No. Mm-mm. You know, we're not getting any of it. It's blowing more towards the ocean.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I had years ago. There was a friend of mine. We had some fires in the North County San Diego area, and he had left his window open in the house when he was at work. And even though he was 10 miles from the fire, the smoke killed his eclectus. So it doesn't take a lot of smoke to kill these guys. And you don't hear much about that. You know, they're always dogs and cats. They don't mention the birds, but they can be far from the fire. If the smoke comes that way and they breathe it, it can go them in. The old canary in the coal mine thing, right? I have to use an Irish accent when I say that. The old canary in the coal mine. Oh, brings to mind an old joke that I really love, but I can't tell it. Darn it. It's about an Irishman in Central Park in New York. What are you doing? What are you doing over there? Are you looking for the Blarney Stone, are you? Yeah, I'm gonna find it there. No, you're not. Hi, Falcon Sue. Hello, Kiarsha. Yeah, that's always a problem, like you're saying, Lisa. In summer, it's not so bad out here, but in San Diego in the summer, you'd have a nice day, and then people would get out there and they'd put 10,000 gallons, I'm exaggerating, of course, of fire starting liquid on their charcoal briquettes, and you could smell the petroleum in the air for miles. And then when that's gone, then you have the smoke. So not one of my favorite holidays either. When you know like Memorial Day, where people get out there and think they have to cook. You know, and first of all, they don't know how to cook. Yeah. So yeah, they just make a big mess. And that kind of thing doesn't work well in desert areas. And anyway, I when I first went to the San Diego area, it was steppe region, which you're talking 12 to 20 inches of rain. Well, when I left, it was a desert region, less than 10 inches of rain, and when we did get it, it would come down in huge floods. But definitely a fire area. What are you doing? So those poor people who have ferrets there, you can get HEPA filters. I have an adapter in the vehicle, so I can run a HEPA in there if I need to. But even then, you don't know. It's the smoke's too thick. A HEPA isn't going to really solve the problem. Main thing is to get away as soon as you can before the smoke starts hitting you. So I wish I knew more about what was happening to the birds out there, but of course they don't talk about that. Oh, this rich person's home burned down, and I mean they don't tell you anything. Back when I was a kid, when TV first came out, they'd have a moderator on the screen who would be describing what you need to do to protect yourself. Now it's all, oh, this person's crying, this person lost a house, that rich. That's not what we need to know. When I was in Fallbrook, we had a great ham radio outlet there and the Fallbrook Radio Club. And whenever there was a fire, they had somebody talking to the fire captain. They stayed close and got all the information about what was going on. They had spotters out. They always knew exactly what was happening. They always had a ton of people listening to the ham radio, which you could do on your phone. You don't actually have to have one to speak on one. You need to own one, and then you need a license, unless it's an emergency. But yeah, people don't realize how important these ham radio people are. Because when cell towers go down in the fires, how do these guys communicate? They do it using the repeaters that these amateur radio enthusiasts have on the top of mountains, that kind of thing. So they put these ham radio operators put those up there, and then when there's an emergency, the firefighters use those, what they call a repeater. It picks up your signal and repeats it back at a different frequency. So
It's kind of worrying because in a lot of Europe they've turned off the FM radio and the AM radio, and they just use digital. But I thought in cases of large disasters like that, then it's not going to work. So it's like, oh, what are we going to do?
well, you can get a scanner. I would suggest just going ahead and getting you can get like a Baofeng, which is a Chinese version of an amateur radio. You can pick one of those up, a 5 watt for probably around €50. And then in an emergency, anyone can use it, but you're not allowed to talk on it otherwise, unless you've got a license. But the nice thing about having that, if you go to your local, there's got to be a local somewhere around you. There'll be a local radio club, and you can go down there and have them set it up so that you can know what to listen to, and they can tell you what channels to go to for an emergency. But you get a scanner too, and then you just find out from the local radio club what channels to listen to, and have maybe one of them come over, or you take the radio down to the club and they'll set it up for you, so you can know when emergencies happen, because that's what all these people use. They use the amateur radio frequencies. That's what the fire and the police and everybody uses. So, because when those cell towers go down, what are you going to do? If you don't have phone, and most people only have a cell phone now. If you don't have a cell phone, how are you going to communicate? I got a 50-watt amateur radio in the van, but only for that reason. I don't use it. If there's an emergency, it's a 50-watt, so I can I can go out a couple of 100 miles depending on the weather.
Well, not all, but most of the landline phones are all VoIP now, so they run on fiber and not copper, so they're not going to work in a power cut or anything. So
yeah,
it's all
why
this modernization. It's actually going backwards.
Exactly. That's why you want to go back to the old amateur radio. You've got that, then you have a way to communicate.
I mean, back in the day, you used to give kids a crystal radio set so they could just build their own radio in their bedroom, and it didn't even need batteries.
Yep. The old crystal radio. I built one when I was a kid. One of my projects was built one. Yeah. But when you're dealing with emergencies, that's what you need. And like I say, you can pick up a Baofeng. There's some other Baofengs are okay. Sometimes they spill over a little bit. Their frequencies aren't just right, but it's enough in an emergency. And you want to get one that's a little better. You can get a Yaesu. Those are Japanese. Yaesu, Yaesus. But again, you still need to go to a local club. And they're these ham enthusiasts. Most of them don't, they're not used to being social. So if you go in there and say you need help, they'll just go right in and do it for you, So they'll show you how to use it.
A friendly bunch. That's nice.
Well, I think there was a joke about that in The Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal Lecter says something about the social skills of a ham radio user. But
which is kind of funny when your hobby is based on talking to each other.
Yeah, that is. But they talk to each other from a distance,
Yeah.
They get together. They get. You don't say that to them, though. You say continuous wave, or CW. That's instead of Morse code. Yeah, so when you're talking to ham radio, you say CW. When you study it, they'll know. In none of the texts do they say Morse code. It's always continuous wave. But it's kind of fun to learn about it, because you're talking about how you learn all about the different waves, the different frequencies, like the one you put against your head when you have a phone. I use Bluetooth adapters, not just because, obviously it's easier, but you don't really want to put a device that is generating microwaves against your head.
Oh, I'm just one of those annoying people that does everything on speakerphone.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then you still have to hold it close to your head when you got the only time I do that is when I'm doing one of these videos. Otherwise, my phone is usually fairly far away. One of the things you learn when you're taking amateur radio, I don't know how I know because we have an emergency in LA, but that's how we got on the subject. But one of the things they say is, you have to avoid getting in front of anything that is broadcasting a 10-meter frequency. What is a cell phone? Well, it broadcasts in the 10-meter frequency range. And people walk around with this thing plastered on their head. It's like, no. Microwaves are used to cook things.
Including your brain.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance to watch that movie, Thank You for Smoking, there's a nice little comment at the end about cell phones. But yeah, they warn you about that. I mean, you get in front of somebody who's broadcasting 50 megawatts, which is what they have in the van. The antenna's on the roof when they do that. It's not inside the cab. So 50 watts of at a 10-meter frequency. It can broadcast on other frequencies too, but that's the most common frequency. So in an emergency, I mean, it's not really the subject I was going to talk about, but in an emergency, it's important to either have a scanner, which you cannot talk to somebody on, preferably an amateur radio, which you can listen to, but unless you have a license, you can't talk on it. But if you're in an emergency, the fire is lapping against your house and you need help, you can talk on it. You can go on there and say, I have an emergency, and they will listen to you.
Yeah. Well, I guess the topic was funny and amusing things that intelligent parrots do. So if we say we're talking about things that intelligent people do as well, they have preparedness for emergencies that keeps them and their intelligent birds safe. So that's a good way to pivot the topic.
There you go. Yeah, I actually took I took the technician and then the operator class. There's only one class above where I am, but I don't use it except for emergencies. But that's why I took it. And when I went in to take my final on both tests, well, the first test, they came over to say, well, I'm here to talk to you about what you did wrong. And he said, well, unfortunately, you're the first person I have to say this to, but you didn't miss anything. I'm good at taking tests, so that was neither here nor there. But when it comes to taking tests, I know how to ace them. There's a lot of technical stuff in there, but it's you get help through it. All right, and they only have 300 questions on the first test, so you can memorize the questions and answers if you want. I hope it goes a little deeper than that, but you can. What are you doing? What are you doing?
So if you can pass a test, does it mean that you're intelligent, or does it mean that you just studied for the test? Discuss.
Well, it means that you studied for the test and now you're responsible to follow the rules. And you become, what people don't realize is that an amateur radio, somebody who has an amateur radio license, is licensed just like the TV station down the road from you or the radio station. That's the same kind of license. So you are required to follow the rules according to what your license the frequencies you're allowed to broadcast on, and the way you have to come online, and what you have to say, how often you have to broadcast you have to broadcast your call letters when you come on and when you go off, and then every 10 minutes. So
is that like Golf Tango Bravo stuff?
Well, you'll hear someone will say, KTLA, KTLA, 7 or whatever. Yeah, the KTLA, that is a major broadcasting set of call letters. So, yeah, so you get a set of call letters like that.
So I need to interrupt you because we got 2 donations by Lisa, twice over
Wow.
$50. So thank you so much for that, Lisa. And I think that means we have to play 2 times the thank you video.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
At least, thank you so much, Lisa. Find it here. There we go. And we'll play this one, which I like just as well, even though we're only supposed to play it one day. Well, thank you, Lisa. And if you want to at some time to talk to Cecil or whoever you want to talk to, you can talk to one of our birds. Been helping us out so much. You've got AK's Cage should be here. Eh, they say anytime from tomorrow on to the 22nd. So they didn't charge us freight, so we're sending it via some kind of carrier pigeon, I think. Big carrier pigeon.
Must have been very big if it can carry that.
Yeah, there's 3 cartons coming, so.
Oh, Cecil, how cute.
He's just, I don't know why he's just sitting there staring, but he is. What, did he kick too much wood at you before? He got hit a couple of times with flying wood. He hasn't been down here since today. Throw some wood at you? Yeah, there's some going to the subject we were going to talk about. Although obviously protecting the birds in a fire is important. Coco, one of the things she did, I have a picture of it, but I gave her, she likes to eat, which I don't recommend. Not after they're so darn hard. I don't think it's a good idea to give your birds pine nuts in the shell. But that's the way she liked them. So she broke apart a pine nut shell, and there was no pine nut in it. So I have a picture of her. What she did is she held up the pine nut in her foot like this, showing me there's no pine nut in here. Like, give me another one, right? That's funny when you think about it and then you see it, you want to laugh. But I mean, the intelligence of explaining to you that you gave me a treat, but it didn't have anything in it. Yeah. And Sugar, when she gets her treats in the morning, if she wants more peanut butter, she'll usually hold on to the stick, the empty stick. The same thing Lorelei does. They'll hold the empty stick and then look at me holding an empty stick, like something wrong with the stick. But actually communicating to me that we would like something more here. And this morning, I had forgotten that the type of papaya I get from them doesn't have any preservatives in it. It's dried with no preservatives, so it has to be kept in the refrigerator, and sometimes I forget to put it in there. But I never get past Mander because he will go right over to the bowl and he looks in there and he'll look at me like, where is it? So, because he goes for the pie first, where with Bob it's the Nutriberries, which I only give to him because they are priced out of this world for something like that. I mean, they're very proud of their product. Yeah, I should say they're proud of their product. A little too proud. But so if I were to give Bob his bowl without those in it, I'll never forget though, because he always he follows me in because he knows that he's going to get his Nutriberries, and I have to take his food into him first. He's you wouldn't think it to look at him, but he's quite insecure. So he follows you around, tries to make sure that you're going to give him what he wants, and doesn't trust you to do it. So he's going to watch you like I won't say like a hawk, but he's got to keep his eyes on you. What are you doing? He's figured out he can move this pan, the catch pan here. So he'll pick it up and start banging it around, and then someone else doesn't like that terribly much. And she'll usually harass him with it when he starts doing it. That big boy. You're not coming over? You're not? And the one that's always doing funny things is Jasmine. She likes to do athletics. She'll spin. She'll do it on the ropes. She'll climb up on that toy there and then start spinning around, or she'll do her pole dancing on it. She's our pole dancer. And when she doesn't get what she wants, when she's trying to get Lorelai to preen her, then I'll put her on the floor and she'll start running around in circles. Fast. Running around. She's not going to give up. That's the thing about that girl. Right, Cecil? Right, Cecil? You going to play that game with me? Huh? Hmm? You're pulling your feathers apart, are you? Hmm? I wouldn't think they can control their chest feathers, but they can. Yeah, Lisa, they are. I don't know what in the world they're doing pricing them like that, but one company where I used to buy him his toys, and he likes beating me up with them. They just doubled their price all of a sudden. It wasn't quite double, but almost. And then they started offering 50% off. I know I mentioned that before, but that's insane. A toy that cost $5 now costs $10, and they're going to give you 50% off. So now it's $7.50. That's not a deal. So I found another manufacturer, and he likes those toys maybe a little better actually, because there's 3 different versions. But those are still $5 a piece for a piece of plastic with a rattle in it, right, Cecil? Don't you want people to see you do that? Mm-hmm.
Cecil's being quiet today. What's up with him?
Like I said earlier, he was running around, and then he got a whole bunch of wood kicked at him, and he hasn't acted the same since. I mean, this little KK down here was kicking wood like crazy. He fell over the floor down there, and he was right in the way. And he backed up, and his head went back, and his crest went up, and he shook his head, and it happened again. And then he climbed up here, and he's been there ever since.
Wow, KK.
We're laughing with you, not at you, big boy. You know, laugh at the big boy.
Oh, well, Cecil, there's another donation. It's from Rico to you. Isn't that nice? Should we say thank you to Rico?
Say thank you, Rico. Can you say thank you, Rico? Hmm? Cecil say thank you. Thank you, Cecil. Thank you. Thank you, Rico. Thank you, Rico.
Oh, I think Cecil is completely smitten.
Yeah. He's showing the piece of wood. He's like, I've seen those up close today, flying at me. Silly bird. He's always doing strange stuff. I go to put his water bowl, and he has all of them have a Lixit bottle too, but he has a water bowl. And 9 times out of 10 he uses it just to take a bath, but he will get up there, and when I'm trying to put the new one in, he'll stand there, and I just say move, and he moves. But you got to watch him, because he'll try to get your fingers just for fun. He's not really trying to bite you, but he's playing a game, aren't you? You like to play games? He does that with his food bowl sometimes too. If I tell him to move, he will, but he understands when I say move, it means get off of his food bowl. Because otherwise, the way that's set up in that old California cage is his foot would get smashed, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it? The only one who's active besides Cecil and KK is Shug right now. She's scratching her ear, so she has to yawn. You didn't hear that right, Shug? Hmm? I'm sure they're all laughing at me behind my back. When I was at the VA, they were. It is interesting. That's the only medical I have, so. But it's interesting how they're afraid to say anything to you. You know, she goes, "Is it okay if I highlight a couple of things on this telephone sheet?" Right. So I looked down and she's highlighted weight management support group and nutritionist. I just laughed. I said, "It's okay. You can say, hey, fatso, you need to watch what you eat." But what it really came down to is I wasn't getting, I was getting calories, but when I try to diet, the problem is that I wasn't getting the other nutrition I needed along with it. I wasn't getting enough protein, enough fat, and I need to limit my carbs. That makes it a lot easier. You get the right combination there, and you're not as hungry. You're not eating rice and spaghetti all the time, which I'm not supposed to eat anyway, but you know how the doctors are, but they should be able to tell you what to do, but they're afraid to do that. Oh, we're not allowed to tell you.
Yeah, are they afraid of being sued for emotional damage or something by telling
Yeah,
somebody that they're not healthy enough?
yeah, yeah. They're basically not allowed to tell someone they're overweight. I mean, you didn't have to tell me that. I just hadn't been able to figure out what to do to manage it because every time I try to lose weight, my gout comes in on me, and then I have to take the gout pills, which make your stomach hurt, and then you have to eat a lot of food with that. So it was counterproductive. So, but she needed to tell me that, and then the nutritionist thing is because I have kidney disease, so I have to watch how much protein I eat. But I'm also borderline diabetic. I've been a borderline diabetic for 5 years, by the way. Um, so I have to stay away from starches and sugar. I don't really care for sugar. Well, I care for this sugar.
Oh,
I care for this sugar.
for sure. That were
But,
harsh words.
yeah, but the other kind of sugar I'm not supposed to eat.
I
Well, I
know.
don't like. I don't like it.
It's
I
just in
actually.
that context, it's always funny when you talk about that. Like, I have to stay away from sugar. So, works
When I
for
was
me.
when I was a kid, my favorite candy, my grandmother used to go get it, and she would have to go to Sears. But don't chew that up. They used to, oh no, oh go ahead, chew it up. I don't care. Go on. I've got plenty of wood. I've got plenty of that kind of stuff I can replace that easy. Um, but what I liked was what she got me, and they were these licorice buttons. They're not made anymore, but you could pop one of these licorice buttons in your mouth, and they were about the size of describe them like a double thick button, normal size of a button. They had a little diamond on top of them, and they would last 2 to 3 hours. But now all the candy is designed. It's designed so that you eat it, it's gone, and you have to keep replacing it, so you buy more. Uh, there are some European varieties, but they add a lot of salt, and I don't need the salt either. So these were not salty. It was just hard licorice candy. It wasn't terribly sweet. Um, I'm not real fond of sugar anyway.
Sorry.
Not that sugar. You know I love that sugar. Right, sugar? Right, sugar? Well, don't make it look like it's so hard for you to turn around.
Mm.
She just doesn't believe I'm going to do it while I'm talking. Yeah, I should. I should. Yeah, with her, it's fun. The funniest thing you see her do is if somebody else comes into the house, right? As soon as that happens, she fluffs up. If she doesn't know him, she fluffs up and starts making all kinds of interesting sounds that sound like they came from the original um, Jungle series. You know, she goes off like that, and everyone says, "Oh, it's so cute." What she's really doing is say, "Stay away from Dawn, who's mine." I've got to record that sometime. When I know somebody's coming over, I've got to set the iPad over there and put it on record because it is something to watch.
Mm. That's the thing. You want to get away from sugar, but then you realize you're owned by the sugar.
Maybe. So let me rest my arm for just a little bit. Originally, she wouldn't do that, but we worked out a deal, or she'll let me rest my arm a little bit. I don't have to hold it up all the time. And then sometimes she'll get an attitude. Come here. No, she'll get an attitude and she won't put her face over. Why are you putting your arm down? I don't know about you. I don't. Mm-mm. She gets it. she gets an amusing look on her face when she wants a new toy.
Oh.
She'll be sitting in front of a toy looking at it, and then when I look at her, she'll look at the toy and turn her head away from it. Like, this needs to be replaced. Don't you? Don't you do that. I'm telling you a secret.
Sugary secrets.
And that one over there, Cecil, once he learned that he could just tap me to get petted, he's just almost constantly coming over to tap me with his foot.
I think the best suggestion or advice comes from Falcon Suyet. She says Don should go on birdie food diet.
I don't know. That's pretty high calorie stuff they eat.
Shugi, to eat high calorie stuff.
It's low protein though. These guys don't need as much protein as we do, but.
So it looks like the rest of the chat is also a little sugar addicted as I am. Yeah, Lisa, I also love old-fashioned candy.
Oh.
So especially on the Christmas markets, so they show the manufacturers they make the candies like they were made decades ago. So
yeah, there's a candy that was around when I was a kid called Whorehound, and it had a unique flavor. Not tasted anything else like it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't find it now. Well, you can. Some specialty stores make it still, but you have to go looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's more that stuff also lasted a lot. Anything that lasts a lot, they stop making.
I love funny candies.
What's a funny candy?
For example, like there's a thing that I need to send you a photo, but it looks like a tiny pink toilet, and the toilet brush is a lolly, and then you can basically dip it in the sparkle powder, in the sour sparkle powder in the toilet, and then yeah.
That sounds like fun. It does.
It is. And it just looks hilarious.
I haven't seen anything like that before, so I'll have to look online. I'm sure I can find it, but yeah, that's why I said, what do you mean funny candy? But yeah, now Mr. Cecil's playing full time over here. He's all fired up about that. Yeah, there was something too that I should bring up. It's not really on the subject, but someone had talked about the aflatoxins in peanut butter, and so I just went and grabbed a list of all the different things that could have aflatoxin. And when you look at the list, you realize peanut butter's gotten a bad reputation because it can be in, the number one thing probably where you find aflatoxin would be in millet. And you buy these millet sprays, and you don't know if they were grown in an area where it was moldy. If there's a lot of moisture when they were growing, then they could have aflatoxin. Wheat, corn, almost every grain there is can have aflatoxin in it. So, but the first thing a parrot person will say is, "Well, isn't peanut butter dangerous?" I'd say millet's more dangerous, honestly. The main thing is to keep that kind of thing refrigerated. And if it's something like millet, refrigerated and with a dry pack in there, something that has a silicate to absorb moisture, because aflatoxins grow in a moist, warm environment, but they can also grow in a colder environment if it's moist. So yeah, that's a common one. And people say, they say peanut butter. And I was talking to Dr. Jenkins about that years ago, and he said peanut butter is great. He says it's a good balance of fat and protein, and it doesn't have much in the way of carbohydrates except a little bit they add to it, because kids have to have sugar, but sugar demons that they are. But no, he said he regularly feeds peanut butter to them, as a treat. His birds. Actually, go ahead. I don't care. Go on. Do that. He's done a pretty good job already, as you can see. But I have about another 15 feet of that wood. I've got to go buy more wood, though. I just cut the last of it for him. He's funny because he'll make something. He'll make something sharp with a sharp edge on it, and then he comes at me with it. I have to look when he's approaching me to hit me with something. Has he got a sharp edge on it? Because he always comes blade first. Don't you? Don't you, big boy? Mander, I have to record it sometime because it won't take long. You throw him a pine cone, which the only pine cones I'm getting right now are these little tiny ones from a regular supplier. But when he gets to a pine cone, you see the pine cone? He's like a magician. In 2 minutes, it's gone. I mean, there's nothing left except powder. Right, Mander? He gets going. When he wants to come back here, he gets going. Here he goes all the way to the edge of the cage, climbs up upside down, goes to the other side of the cage, gets on back on the rope, comes all the way across, and he starts doing that. When he doesn't want to come in, he looks at me and he turns his back. If I keep talking to him, he goes to the bottom of the cage. Like, you didn't get it when I turned my back, I'll go to the bottom of the cage and you'll get it. So, hi, sugar. What are you doing?
Jasmine is getting up.
The jazzy jazz bird. Poor Lucy. She was pooping right down here in my area.
Oh my, I posted the link for the candy toilets in the chat, and now the chat
Oh no.
is exploding. Yeah, they come in different colors. You can also have one in blue and in green, and they have different tastes. So I think the pink one is strawberry, the blue is raspberry, and the green is apple. So, and yes, I have all of them.
Well, I used to work in the plumbing industry when I was young, so I'm sure we could have sold those on the counter. The plumbers.
Yeah, that certainly would be a fun gadget.
That is funny.
Shuggy.
Mander, you were almost fired up over there. Almost. He was doing his shuffle.
The Mander shuffle.
Yep. And then I think you realized that there's a KK over here, but KK's kind of busy right now. He's not worried about the pink birds. He's gotten a lot better about them.
No, the pink birds are sweet. They like to stay away from you. Oh yeah, now I see Manda's moving.
Yeah, he's starting to get his little shuffle going.
Sweet boy. We got a little super sticker from Eleanor, so thank you for that. With the right
Well, I
picture
thought it
for
was
the
on topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he didn't move that whole time that was playing. He just someone else has got a big piece of wood off there now. He's chewing it all up.
So welcome, Giselle, who just joined the chat. Yeah, the chairs flappies are awesome, Eleanor. I always get a kick out of this video. It's really motivating.
Now she does a lot of flapping. She pretty much flaps every day at some time. Are you having a problem with him tearing up your perch?
Probably he's
Okay.
sitting there not paying the preening toll.
Yeah, I've got to go pick up water tomorrow, and I'm going to stop by and get some more wood. And then I'm going to stop over at, there's a veterinarian. It's not an avian vet, but I'm going to try to get a vet to at least provide medication. And if I need an extra set of hands, I can go over there in an emergency. It's just an hour and a half is too far when you got a bird that needs help. So. What? What? What, Cecil? You having fun? Tearing up her perch? I don't think she's happy about it. What?
Giselle is interested in the new cage, but it hasn't arrived yet.
No, it got shipped from New Jersey, so they said it would be here between the 14th and the 22nd. There's a tip. If you order something like that, order it through PayPal if you can, because if for some reason something goes wrong, you have a recourse. Calling your credit card company and asking them to fix something, you're better off to deal with PayPal. So, and try to film it when it comes off the truck too, if you can. Not always the easiest thing to do, but I'm not going to be notified as to when it's going to land here, so. If you can film it coming off the truck, if there's any what looks like outside damage to the boxes, then that gives you a little something to work with. What are you doing over there, buddy?
Cecil
Really?
stuff. Giselle says she's using a firmware cloner with good success on items. Yeah,
if you have a third party that you can use, doesn't matter so much what it is, as long as they have some kind of reconciliation process if something goes wrong. Although I've dealt with Wayfair a couple of times, including for the aviary outside, and I did it through PayPal, but didn't have any trouble. They seem to be the best price and the best quality that I can find out there now at King's Cages has been absorbed by Bonka Bird Toys. What are you doing? I don't know if that's a merger, an acquisition. Who knows what it is, but I know that the most popular cage they make isn't made anymore, or isn't available. It just says isn't available. That's the one that Bob and Lorelei and Sugar are in, and Snowball too. This one's the same size. It's a dome top, though. It doesn't have that European look to it. Dome tops are fine. Bars are a little smaller. I prefer a 6mm bar, but what can you do? They don't not make them anymore. So, what? What?
What is up with Cecil today?
He was just fine until he got hit by all these flying pieces of wood.
Oh,
He's been weird ever since. Oh, you're gonna come down now, huh?
See, it's not so fun when you're the one getting hit rather than doing the hitting, is it, Cecil?
Yeah, apparently not. No.
Cecil finally on the receiving end. Oh, my Jasmine. Where's Mando disappeared?
He's just kicking back, just kind of watching everything.
Oh, exactly. Oh my gosh, he's really hiding great. Sweetie pie. And Lucy, she's still down on the floor?
Yep.
That's the fun thing about Lucy. From time to time, she changes her place where she prefers to stay. And then that's her new place. And everybody else has to stick with it.
Yeah. Everybody else has to stay away.
Maybe she sits, I think, look, the sun is shining in the window, so maybe she's enjoying that. The beam of
I think so.
light.
I think that's what she's doing, yeah.
Because that's happening at the moment here too, that in the bocce room, the sun actually shines in because the sun is so low. And they just love it.
Yeah, it's been getting cold out there. They're not giving us freeze warnings, but when it says it's going to be 29 degrees, which is like -1 Celsius, yeah, you can freeze, especially when your well tank is galvanized and exposed. I had to order a cover for that thing. Not cheap, but it's also having your pipes explode isn't cheap either, so. Probably should have done it earlier. And then when you have the summer, I mean, your water comes in hot whether you're using the hot water or not. Because 115 degrees heats that thing right up. Well, folks, it's that time. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa, for the super stickers. And thank you, Eleanor. And thanks, Eleanor and Amy, for being the moderators today. And Sugar's going to give you a little bit of a show, and we're going out the door here.
And thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you, Don, for streaming for us.
Yeah, we had quite a really interesting Cecil to watch. And magnificent Sugar as always. Yeah, it was fun, guys.
Say bye, Jazz. Bye, Jazz. Oh, you guys want to say goodbye?
Wednesday.
Science knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.